Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. In the last video, I talked about Africa's development and I made mention of the fact that Africa or African societies or cultures need what I call the cultural mind. And in the last video, I couldn't elaborate much on that particular principle. So today, I would like to share with you what I mean by cultural mind. Of course, Africa is a huge continent with diverse cultural realities. So at this point, I'm not coming to talk about Africa as a country, but as a continent with diverse and manifold cultural realities and forces. Now, across Africa, I would like to assert that irrespective of the diverse cultural realities, there is a fundamental mind that underlines the various cultures and societies in Africa. And this is what I call cultural mind. And this cultural mind is designated as Ubuntu. Ubuntu means I am because we are. Now, this principle or this saying has a lot of implications. And before I go into that, the idea that I am because we are has something to do with self-knowledge. Self-knowledge or knowledge of the self. That is, I see myself in you. And likewise, you see yourself in me. Now, listen, this is a fantastic idea and very deep insight about the nature of human relationships in a society. So, the cultural mind is based on this idea of Ubuntu. This idea has a lot of implications if we take heed and implement it in African societies. You can talk of the area of health, economics, politics, environment, and others. How does this Ubuntu or cultural mind that I'm talking about work in reality? With regards to this, let me give you an example or a concrete example by making reference to the custom services and custom officers, or those who collect revenues in African societies. Now, if you are a revenue collector or a custom officer, You either work for yourself or for the community. And it will depend on the level of your consciousness. If the person working in that custom offices is working in the consciousness of the Ubuntu principle, or in the light of the cultural mind that I'm talking about, that I am because we are, his or her actions in that office will be different. So, for example, the person will realize or recognize that he or she in this revenue office is not working for himself or herself or for the family, but rather for the entire community. So at the back of his or her mind, he or she knows that I am because we are. So whatever revenue I receive, it is on behalf of the community that I receive, not on my behalf. This is very important, and that should be the difference. Now, on the other hand, those who live outside the consciousness of this Ubuntu philosophy or this cultural mind have a different attitude towards the collection of revenue. Instead of saying, I am because we are, they will say, I am because I am. So, that custom officer is in love with his or her own self-image. Once he or she receives or collects the revenue, the only person or the only thing he or she thinks about is about himself or herself, and sometimes his or her family. And they do this at the expense of the entire community. So, if you have public officers who are in love with themselves, who are in love with their own well-being and self-images, then there will be a problem, because whatever they will receive on behalf of the community goes into their pocket. So, they are living outside the cultural mind that I'm talking about, which is Ubuntu. I am because we are. So, what is the point of working on behalf of a community and you decide to channel the community's properties or revenues to the development of your own self? Then you are a living contradiction, because you are not a self-employer. You are employed on behalf of the community. So every penny that hit the account of the custom office or the revenue office should be channeled into the community's offices for the development of the communities or the societies. So if you have individuals who are working on behalf of the community, decide to be in love with their own self-images, then that community will suffer when it comes to revenue generation, because that revenue for the community is used for other things. In all, what I'm trying to bring about is this simple message. The one who has internalized or imbibed the Ubuntu spirit that I am because we are, never works against the community, but rather for the community and on behalf of the community. The Ubuntu idea is very huge and it has a lot of implications. So the first step is to recognize that you are because we are. So if you are working in a public or a government office, you are not there for yourself. You are there for the entire community. If this is not done, then the issue of social development or cultural development will always be a problem in Africa, because people are not willing to sacrifice their self-image or to overcome their selfishness and be selfless for the community. Okay, I will end everything here, and in the next episode or in the next video, I will try as much as possible to come out with the principles of Ubuntu, as well as the elements and the characteristics that constitute this cultural mind that I'm talking about, Ubuntu. Stay tuned. Bye-bye. Make sure to share this video, like it, and then let's try as much as possible to expand this family. Bye-bye.